Happy Mon Happy Monday, everybody, as my computer is dinging. We are working on histograms or box and whisker plots. I think in the book they just call it a box plot, but oftentimes you'll see it called a box and whisker. And you can tell because it's the box and then these are the whiskers. So it looks really complicated, but if you follow it step by step, it's going to be pretty easy. So let's look. This is your success criteria, but it's also example number 1. So I want you to write this whole part down. I'm going to zoom in on the first part. So what we want to do is take the whole set of data and you're going to put it in order from least to greatest, just like you would when you were doing the median and often the mode. So same idea. So here's our set of data. The last one will be the minimum, which I know makes a lot of sense, to the left. And then the greatest piece of data will be your maximum. And then just like you did before, you're going to find the median. And so for this one, it looks like we have 13. And then we're going to look at quartiles. Okay, so in your comp book, you want to write down quartiles. And if you think about that word, quartiles, it's got that word quarter in it. And so we know that we're going to be looking at fourths, chunks of a fourth. So, and the tile just means that we're taking a set of data and we're chunking it into fourths. So for the first quartile, you take a look at the first half, and we have 7 to 13, and it's like this is a separate set of data, and you're going to find the median of that one. So you're pretending like you have 7 through 13. The middle of that is a 10, and I believe you leave the median out. That one doesn't count. So the first quartile will be 10 in this one, and that just means it's the half of that data. We already have the second quartile because that's the median. And then if we look at the last, we take the median of that. Again, leave the median out. 13 to 22, find the median of that one, and that becomes your third quartile. Okay? So once you have your minimum, your maximum, your median, and you have your first, second, and third quartiles, then you can start to draw the box plot. Okay? So with the box plot, you are going to have a number line. You can just go left to right if you want. So everything is going to be on, everything that we just talked about over here will be on this box and whisker. So the minimum is as easy as just making a little hash mark up above. I always like to go over to the maximum, put a little hash mark there. I like to start with my median. So maybe we'll number these. So 1, 2, 3. I know the median is going to be my box, so I make that hash mark a little bit more. Then I can go to my first quartile, and that was a 10. So here's the first part of my box. I'm going to put my third quartile in. There's the right side of my box, and I can then make my box. And then the only thing I have left is a line. And so this just means you can look at that central tendency, and it also tells you how concentrated the data is. And then the box, when you have really long whiskers, it might show you that you have like an outlier, that it's some piece of data. Like on this one, we went from 18 to 22. Well, that box and whisker would look very different if 18 was the maximum. So we'll get into analyzing the box and whiskers a little bit later. So you can pause here if you need to finish writing that up. And I'm going to come down here. So the requirements for box plots, and I'm going to put box and whiskers, because I think that'll help you remember that a little bit better. So 1, find the minimum and maximum. Oh, actually, I should say put data in order first. Oh, I should go back down. There we go. Put data in order, then find the minimum and maximum, find the median, find the first quartile, find the third quartile, and then you can, I'm going to call it plot, but it's more like you're drawing. Okay, so go ahead and pause there and get all of those notes down. It was a lot, I know. Okay, I would like you to go to page 484, and I would like you to do the try it at the bottom of the page and then come on back. Okay, hopefully you have your box and whisker in there. So let's just kind of talk through it. Our minimum is going to be 7. Our maximum is 22. Our median is 13. And then our first quartile is 12. And our third quartile is 16. So if you plotted on the number line, it should look like this. Okay, long whiskers, and your median is closer to the first quartile. So if you're thinking about that, then that means there must be a lot of numbers that are similar to find that median. And if you look over here, oh, look at that, our whole first quartile is the same number. And so that just means, if you look, our median is 13 and 12 is the first quartile. All of those would be 12. Isn't that interesting? Okay. And then for the convince me, how is the distribution of Helen's data this year different from last year? The first and the third quartiles are very different. Okay. We're going to skip example 2 and we're going to go on to example 3. So find a spot and come on back. Okay, so on example number 3, we have this box and whisker and we need to be able to interpret it. So first thing I want you to notice is the number line's a little different than we did on the other try it and the first example. These are going up by 2. So always pay attention to the scale of the number line, okay? I'm going to pull back a little bit there. So the first thing we could do is, if we went back through our steps, we can't know what the numbers are in order, but we can start with, so the minimum would equal 8, and the maximum would be 20, and our median would be, so here's where it's kind of tricky. Here's that middle of the box, and it's between 16 and 18. So we know that medium would be 17. Okay. This is an example of weights in pounds. So it's clothing in pounds. Sorry, that's not so good. So we know that the smallest bag was 8 pounds. We know the largest bag was 20 pounds and that the median was 17 pounds. The first quartile then is 12 pounds. And the third quartile is 18 pounds. So we could say that if this is the median and this is the third quartile, remember that last one we said if there's a really small part, a fourth of the numbers are coming from here. So I'm guessing that majority of the bags, if we did a most or a mode, it would probably be 17 pounds, somewhere in there, because of the way that box plot is so skinny. Okay, so go ahead and do the try it on page 485. You've got a set of data there. See if you can do a box and whisker plot real quick and come back. Okay, the tryout on page 485, your minimum, once you put those numbers in order, was 9. Your maximum should be 27, so you put your little whiskers. Your median is 18, and then when you leave 18 out and you look at the rest, your first quartile is 12, and your third quartile is 21. And then you can draw your whiskers, okay? Be precise with your drawings, Joseph. And you are now going to do page 486, 488, numbers 4 through 16, and then you can go and check your work. Let me know if you have questions.